Welcome to round number 3. We have finally made it. This is the last and final round for 3 rounds with Jade this week's episode. Like I said, just a little reminder, we are switching things up next week. More explanation will be given to you next Tuesday. With that aside, let's jump right into round number 3. What am I discussing? First and foremost, this topic of discussion came about due to the fact of the outcome that occurred in the TJ Dillashaw and Henry Cejudo fight. Quick recap for those of you who missed the first episode, the first part of 3 rounds with Jay this week. I brought up the fact that the fight between TJ Dillashaw and Henry Cejudo, in some people's minds, was stopped a little early. You see, from my perspective, I did not see that. But anyways, that's not what we're going to talk about. What I want to talk about is the fact that a lot of these referees who take this judgment into their own hands, a lot of these referees that are placed in a situation where they are now faced with the task of watching a fight unfold before them, and they are faced with the task of ensuring fighters' safety, which is kind of a little strange because whether you're in a boxing match, a mixed martial arts fight, a Muay Thai fight, a kickboxing match, or any of the following, a referee's responsibility is to ensure fighters' safety. How do you ensure fighter safety in a sport that is a blood sport? It is violent. Now, how does fighter safety come into play? Well, quite simply, it's a referee's job and discretion to ensure that the fighter is able to defend himself. If a fighter, regardless of whether he is covering up like this and taking dozens of unanswered shots, the referee will step in and stop the fight due to the fact that you have not moved for quite some time, and he cannot allow you to continue taking these shots to the head. Regardless of whether or not you're blocking, the shots are getting through and penetrating your arms, and your arms are hitting you in the head. You are taking a shot to the head. That is not up for discussion. That is not even an argument. You can't even say, but no. You have taken dozens of unanswered punches, and you have not even moved or even attempted to get out of that position. Or a referee will stop the fight if you are completely unconscious, if you are wobbly and can't stand up. What I mean by wobbly is if when a fighter gets knocked around a bit, he ends up a little bit loopy. So you'll see him when he comes up and he's just walking like this. That means a fight will be stopped. You're not able to compete. Your senses are not all there. Your eyes may be open, but you are not capable of going about the fight to your best capacity. Other than stopping a fight due to the fact that you're technically unable to compete or defend yourself, a referee will step in when a submission is applied and you tap, or you tap due to strikes. A referee's job is also to ensure that you are aware of what is going on at all times. In other words, he wants to make sure you are not concussed at any point in the fight. If he sees that your eyes are glazed over, if he sees that you fall back, your head hits the mat, and you go out for a moment and then come back, the referee will stop the fight. A referee will also step in if a cut is too deep or above the eye and impairing your vision. A referee will stop the fight if he sees that you have a broken toe and it is bleeding, a broken arm and it's dangling, anything that is broken or anything that is severely damaged. A referee will step in and stop the fight. Now, where does this come into play? You see, Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw, they competed in a historic matchup, a super fight. It was champion versus champion. What ended up happening was TJ Dillashaw was on some wobbly legs. He got dropped to the ground, and Henry Cejudo followed up by unleashing a barrage of strikes. TJ Dillashaw argues the fact because he popped back up quickly after the referee stepped into play, which always ends up happening. If you look at a lot of referee stoppages, you never see the fighter jump back up or defend himself when he's taking unanswered punches to the face. He always jumps up when the referee stops him and he's like, oh, I'm fine. Buddy, if you were fine, you wouldn't have been put in that precarious position. If you were fine, you would have been able to move around and get out of being in that precarious position. Instead, you put yourself in that position and basically were hoping that your opponent was going to tire out and therefore allow you to get back to your feet and implement your game plan. That doesn't work in this sport. It's very simple. You have got to be aware of your surroundings and you have got to be capable of defending and getting away from taking a barrage of strikes. So basically, if you fall to the ground and your opponent falls down and starts landing some shots and you're just like, I'm good, the fight's over. Alright? Don't be a smartass. Don't be pretending that you're Mr. Tough Guy. The referee's job is solely there to ensure your safety. He doesn't want that in 10 years from now, or 15 or 20 years from now, you're not even able to remember your kid's name. He doesn't want that when you reach a certain age, you're not even able to bend down and pick up your children, or go about your day the way you want to be. He doesn't want that when you end up in retirement, you're basically put in retirement, and you should be in a retirement home because you cannot live a normal life. And to ensure that in the long run, you are okay. Now, I do not agree with certain stoppages. It does happen that a referee does stop a fight too early, and this is something that needs to be changed. And this is something that not only has the UFC been aware of, but Bellator is aware of it, PFL, all the major and minor league mixed martial arts organizations are fully aware of the dangers and are fully aware of the possibility of certain fights being stopped early. It's up to the commission to start changing the rules. It's not up to the organizations to suddenly start making up new rules, because they can't. They first and foremost have to be passed by the commission. For example, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is the one who has to implement these rules if they want it to be attainable in the ring. If in the cage, they have to pass a law and an agreement of what the set rules are. I do agree that the rules should be changed. You see, the mixed martial arts world, they've fallen under the category of boxing rules. The only difference is that they've incorporated knees, kicks, and elbows into their rule set, and attacking on a grounded opponent and submissions. You take all of that away, a referee's discretion and job is pretty much the same as a boxing referee minus the 10 count. He is there to ensure that you are capable of competing, and he is there to ensure that once you are knocked out, the fight is over. That's it. But there has to be a change in this, and I do agree that in some fights, certain stoppages do end early. But when it comes to the TJ Dillashaw Henry Cejudo one, it's very difficult to say that this fight ended early. You see, TJ didn't do much to really show that he was all there. TJ really didn't do much after he got clipped with that punch and then fell to the ground. TJ didn't really do much when he was pushed by Henry Cejudo. Now, a lot of it could be due to the fact that he had a traumatic weight cut, and it did affect his performance. But that is all naysaying, who knows? The point of the matter is that the rule set, and including the judging criteria, needs to be changed for mixed martial arts. It's over 25 years, close to 30 years that this sport has been in existence. Is it not time that they have their own unified set of rules? With all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for tuning in this week for 3 Rounds with Jay. I told you next week we're changing things up, so I look forward to seeing you next week on Tuesday. I've got some big things to show you. I cannot wait to see you all next week. The links to my social media accounts are all at the bottom. Do not be shy to like, share, and tell your friends about it. We're trying to grow this brand. I will see you next week. Like I said, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the bottom. With all of that said, this was 3 Rounds with Jay. I'll see you next week. Peace.